Vale, pues nada, soy un puto desgraciado, o sea, en serio.
Ulti Briero. No.
Te vas tú para allá, ¿no? ¿O no? ¡Espera!
¿Qué acaba de pasar?
Sí, ya es segunda vez, bro. Esa es segunda vez ya.
I'm ready to show you what I've learned. I cannot be undone.
Amazing video showing us that even if our pro players cannot manage to have kills on Mel, the community can. Great video from our players here. We're back after this first series with Humanoid. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You had time to breathe a bit, but we're still gonna cook you. What the hell was that?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I mean, I guess we wanted to give the fans a lot of time to watch.
All right.
And practice some comebacks from behind.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it is practice playing from behind, but there was a key moment in the game where you guys started coming back in that game. So there was a lot of back and forth, but we have this one fight in particular. Would you identify this as the moment things started going right for you guys again?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is just trying to dive instantly without a wave, so we just managed to kill them, I guess. I don't know what they're doing. They could just not do anything and probably end the game here, but yeah, they want to go in.
Story of BDS, whole split, Finn. Sadly, it feels mid-game being questionable and not knowing again when and how to pull the trigger at times.
Yeah, it's pretty sad because this is the exact same spot they threw against you in regular season. If you remember the Varus flashing forward and trying to dive in.
It is!
Oh,
exact
yeah,
same
you're
place.
right, actually.
Yeah,
Now
so
that I
it's
remember it.
pretty tragic. I feel like patience has been the virtue that BDS has been lacking.
Yeah.
They've been very impatient with their leads, and whenever they get a little bit of confidence, it kind of gets to their head very fast. And yeah, as you see here, it didn't really work out for them. Really, really heartbreaking loss for BDS, obviously. I think they really wanted to clutch this one.
Yeah, a lot of things to work on, a lot of things that they've been trying to work on so far. They're going to have time until spring, of course. But you guys, the road continues. For you, what is next? What is next in terms of fixing your issues, let's say? Let's keep it simple.
I mean, we'll see what happens next week.
Yeah.
We have for sure not played that great today, but I think in practice we are doing fine. So
Okay.
I don't know what happened today. Yeah, I mean, I think we will for sure play better next week.
Okay. Still, sorry, a bit of concerns for myself because from your domination in regular season to what happened to G2 with G2 last week again, and this series that you win, but that is not as dominant as you would expect. Fans are worried. I am. I'm guessing that you're not because you know what you need to fix.
I mean, I guess the G2 series was like a turnaround from this one where we were really ahead and then we threw it. So, yeah.
All right.
I don't know why, but against G2 we just always throw in the late game. Maybe they are just the late game gods.
Are these that good, or is it just something that you guys consistently do wrong against them?
I mean, we do it wrong on stage, I guess.
Yeah.
Not really in like scrims or anything. So maybe we have. Maybe they are just, they are just the goats of late game.
All right. Enough about you guys. Let's focus on the second series. Before that, no, we have the key player of the game here, Oscarinen. He was clutch in that game 3, I feel, especially
yeah,
with
the Poppy was clean and he was hunting everyone in that game, stunning everyone. Yeah, crazy.
From a top laner's perspective, the man of the series, the man of game 3 for sure.
I mean, Ambessa has been like one of the most broken picks in LEC.
Yeah.
At least that's what teams think. And I feel like this Ambessa was completely invisible this game. She actually like barely had any impact. She had one that good fight in the bot side river. But I feel like this Ambessa was completely neutralized. And I think actually Oscarinen's Poppy was super clean. And I feel like Oscarinen, whenever he gets Poppy, is always popping off, funnily enough. I remember Bin even praising his Poppy.
Nice one. That's why you're
when he played him in, I think it was MSI or Worlds. So really, really good on Poppy. It has to be
Yeah.
something you keep an eye on.
Keep an eye on this pick for sure, especially in Game 3, especially when he has so much room to play, like he did here today. Let's talk about the second series, as we said here. MKOI, GX, the Spanish clash. Only one can stay in the road for playoffs, hoping to win the title here in the LEC. We see the teams arriving at the studio. I'm not sure, Finn, that I know what to think from both these teams, because as I said in Reddit check, I thought Fearless Draft was going to be MKOI's playground. It has not been so far. And GX, a bit of a rough series from them yesterday as well.
I mean, GX looked really shaky against Heretics, honestly. I thought there was a chance that Heretics would actually win that series after that commit performance in Game 2. They came in with a lot of momentum for Game 3. Didn't manage to close it out, but also when you look at MKOI, you've seen very, very sketchy plays against the KC that looked very disorganized. There was a lot of weird drafts, a lot of random side lane deaths. I don't know, what is your opinion on MKOI right now?
I mean, I didn't really watch their game last week, so I don't know how they played.
Okay.
Okay, let's just take this as an example here. Your mid lane is already dead, and now you want to approach this dragon with your tank Karma flanking. What is your opinion about tank Karma flanking the enemy team here?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that they were really inting, you know, which I can see, I guess. I mean, for sure, I would say the Giants will stomp them.
Oh, that's a pretty bold take. I think most people actually believe that MKOI is the stronger team.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Nah. And MKOI is going to get completely destroyed.
Why? Through which lane? Through which factor?
Through the mid lane department, it's going to be my boy Jackie's just completely dominating.
All right. Not biased at all, of course.
No. I mean, we can see it in the stats as well. Way
With
better
the forward
stats, you know.
percentage.
0.2 more KDA.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's the difference maker that you need in a
That is
series
it,
like
that
this.
is it.
0.2 KDA in the long run can actually add up to a lot of kills.
I know there's been a lot of expectations on Jojopyun. I know that he hasn't quite delivered so far. I think it's it's fair to say this. What's your take on Jojopyun so far, what he was supposed to bring to the team and what he has not been bringing to MKOI?
I mean, he's just average. He has,
Okay.
he's way better at talking than playing, I would say. So I guess that's what he brings to the team.
All right.
A lot of talking.
A lot of talking.
What do I
Chat.
even say after this? Marek, thank you so much for your spicy takes. Your compatriot, of course, is going to stomp MKOI as you predicted. I want to know what the casters think of all this.
Thank you, Laure. I'm not sure what to think. I feel like someone at some point has to defend Jojo, and because we're from the same region, I feel like it should be me, but if he calls football soccer, we're going to be in trouble. So first we need to figure out which side of that coin he lands on, and we're moments away now from getting the game. It is GX and MKOI. It's elimination day. One of these teams will be going home. We won't see them again till spring. The other team moving up to face the victorious Fnatic. And I'll be honest, coming into this weekend, top 4 felt crystal clear. Coming out of that first series yesterday, there's no more crystal left, so we'll just have to see.
Yesterday's series, we had 3 games with GIANTX versus Heretics. We did not expect that to happen. And then Humanoid says, I'm expecting GIANTX to stomp KOI. Now, is that a degree of bias because he has a good relationship with Jackie's? Or is that because he knows something that we don't?
I mean, these Czech mid laners, they stick together, you know?
They do.
Got to back each other up. And Jackie's, you know, still a solid performer, still prone to some of the same weaknesses we saw last year, but of course the glow up has been real. And Jojo, we've heard a lot about what he delivers in terms of communication, and I think it is valuable, but we'll need to see that individual performance step up in the series today.
Something that was lacking last week from KOI was that synergy between Elyoya and Alvaro to push them through the strong early games that we saw them find consistently during the regular season. In Game 1, it just wasn't there. In Game 2, it got better, but then the composition in and of itself was where they took a lot of criticism. So now, moving into this week, let's see what they've been able to prepare coming into this series, ahead of the fact that they even got to see GX play yesterday as well.
Definitely more room to identify what they need to be successful. Whenever we talk about MKOI, it's easy to focus on the Myrwn unique picks or Jojo being from NA, but I think that jungle support that you highlighted is the key to MKOI pulling out the win.
That Poppy ban, very indicative of what is likely to be a Vi Ambessa priority. Now, that isn't too surprising, especially in the LEC where we've seen these champions heavily picked within the first few rotations. But yesterday, GIANTX put a high priority on grabbing the Poppy for themselves against Heretics. So there's some of that prep from yesterday coming through from KOI. You have to imagine that this Ambessa is going to be picked away from you. So what are they going to look to pair up alongside it as the Sejuani already coming in for closer?
Sejuani in general, a champion that just provides that immediate engage option, synergizes nicely as you already have a melee champion in Ambessa. So MKOI probably aware that the Ambessa was going to get taken away. This is where Myrwn does have the opportunity to show us a creative counter pick. But, I mean, so far in playoffs, at least, he's only played Karma and Kai'Sa. I wouldn't be surprised to see Kai'Sa. However, lock in there is the Yone. So technically, I would just expect that one to go over to Jojo, but could, based on the smile on Myrwn's face, be a top lane option.
Yeah, I would be surprised to see a Yone locked in this early in the draft. It's very uncommon, especially when there are champions that can be used as an answer. Remember, Smolder throughout the World Championship was used as a, I would say, hit or miss counter, depending on your expertise on the champion.
Yeah, and your name tag. If your name was Chovy,
yeah, that
good.
also,
Everyone
yeah,
else, it was,
yes,
it was a little underwhelming.
Quite right. So Ezrreal going to be locked in alongside it. Relatively safe AD carry in the current meta. Supa, I mean, he showcased a plethora of different AD champions so far this split, but a bit of safety, good scaling, and the Kai'Sa answer should come as no surprise, especially when it's one of historically Noah's best champions.
Yeah, has that mobility, has that individual safety, which can allow Jun and Closer to potentially link up more in some of these team fights and let Noah just dive in when he sees fit. But the thing I'll call out on the side of MKOI, a lot of physical damage. Yone does a bit of magic damage, not enough to make up for any kind of other deficits. So we'll need to see where the rest of the magic damage comes from on this composition. As with Sejuani already locked in, there is a tank health bar you're going to need to get through at some point.
The Rumble ban suggests that GX is still cautious around what could go up towards the top lane. Is Zia being taken away as well? Leads us to believe that this Yone is going mid, but I am still very skeptical about its position in the roster. We'll see as the bans continue to come through. Rumble going to be the priority. I'm thinking of other, maybe they just want to take the Kai'Sa away.
Could take Kai'Sa, could just take away another conventional AP option. Instead, it'll be the Braum. Obviously makes it much more difficult for the Kai'Sa to dive, and even though we didn't see the last game go in the favor of BDS, you did see how powerful Braum can be in those mid-game skirmishes with the Unbreakable.
Final ban, Akali coming through from KOI. So again, bans do suggest that this Yone is going in mid. The Rell hover right now coming through from the side of GIANTX should come as no surprise for any long-time Jun fans.
I just like the deep mistrust you have for Myrwn. You're just like, at any moment, like, I want you to be clear.
You played Forest top last year, okay?
Right now it makes sense that the Yone is going mid, but I don't want to promise you anything because I've been burned before.
I remember we spent this whole time talking about, yeah, Varus makes sense there. We didn't look at it, and then another AD carry gets locked in.
Never again.
Yeah, after that, Myrwn, he lost all my trust.
But look, if we do get the Rakan locked in here, you have an immense amount of playmaking for jungle support, which is something that we talked about. Ezrreal and AD carry who can just kind of chill on his own to a certain degree. And now, that's an immediate Vex lock.
That is locked in.
Shout out,
is that top though?
Shout out to Dayor. Shout out to Myrwn, maybe more importantly. I feel like we're getting a top lane Vex. It makes sense. Again, every dash sets up one half of her passive to
He's smiling, but it doesn't mean anything.
Do they just pick another melee-based dash champion and say, you have to pick one of these? What? Oh! It's the Lee Sin mid?
It's the Doinby Lee Sin mid, right? I have to look this up.
Yeah, well, the problem is that at any... Sejuani mid? Vote now in chat. You don't have a way to vote, but guys, I'm going to be honest. Okay, so reminder, rule in pro play. This doesn't come up that much anymore because we don't usually have this many flex picks, but 20 seconds is the cutoff. So you will always know who you're playing against, although you can still technically lane swap in games. I'm really hoping for standard lanes, and it's looking like Lee Sin mid, which I can see the logic. Again, you can follow the E on the snapback. Got the slow. Sejuani I could also see being really boring to watch. Maybe not so viable, but I'm willing, I'm willing to... this is exactly what you want from Fearless.
I mean, this is exactly what I want. And I love that we're already getting it in game one.
But it's game one. Nothing else is banned, and this is the weirdest part about Fearless. In best of 3, it's more of a mindset than it is a restriction. Like, there was no pressure to cook here. And both teams are like, all right, we're going to give you that weird stuff. That exotic tasting
we talked about
menu.
how they expected the Ambessa to be taken away. I just wasn't expecting that the response to that to be Vex top lane. This is the creativity that we have been longing for from Myrwn, a player that last year played so many different champions, has cooked for us once more, and he's going to be playing Vex top into Ambessa.
Will we finally find the counter? Ambessa Medarda, legendary warrior brought low by Emo Yordle. I mean, regardless, I'm excited to see if it works. It will ruin solo queue, though. That much I am confident in.
I mean, we've also got Lee Sin mid into Yone. Now, this is a matchup I'm not as familiar with, I will be honest. But the idea is that Lee Sin early has a lot of power. Especially when you go for things like the Eclipse early, it gives you a very strong item spike. I will say that it doesn't scale as well as some other like Bruiser, Lee Sin builds that can be a little bit more scrappy, but in terms of your upfront damage, it can be pretty crazy. You see KOI hovering around this mid lane, but Lee Sin mids, I'm trying to find the game, but I'm convinced I saw it over in the LPL. I just can't remember what game I saw it in.
Look, all I know is that if we get into a point in the game where Jackie's is not ahead and has to full front to back against the Vex, the Rakan, and the Vi, it's going to be tough. But early lane should be pretty favorable. Obviously, the additional attack speed stories, Lee Sin has a very juicy kit when it comes to melee versus melee battles, and Yone first few levels are pretty rough. Somewhat mitigated by the fact that it's a melee versus melee matchup, but level 3 where I'd expect this to at least start to feel more playable for Jojo.
I mean, to be honest, bot lane's cool and all that. This is where I wanted to be. So, Vex versus Ambessa. He started with the W, providing that shield, and for those unfamiliar with Vex, when she has that meter underneath her HP bar filled up, her next ability will apply a fear. But also, every time a champion in front of her dashes, she can basically extract an essence from them to do an extra bit of damage.
Yep.
And that only applies whenever the dash comes through, or also she can apply it from some of her abilities.
Sure. I mean, the big thing is every time you dash, right, she gets that proc, extra damage, also makes the fear come back up that much quicker, and the fear is also technically a knockdown. So if you are trying to dash into her and she hits you with the fear, it will interrupt your dash, which is a big thing. Obviously, it doesn't work against the Unstoppable, but for Lot, this is just going to be a very annoying lane phase.
And I mean, just look at the damage there. So he starts with the W when Lot tries to go in with his mobility, immediately gets feared, gets punished, and then you can use the E to reapply the passive, and now he's got the fear back up again. So Lot is just getting bullied in this matchup, and you can see that little eye over his head.
He's marking himself.
Yeah, he's marking himself every time he moves. And so that passive that so many people thought was mega broken and annoying to deal with, which to be fair, it
still is.
It's just like, to Vex, it's like, wow.
This is free damage.
This is free damage.
And this
so
is where we see if Ambessa players are ready to adapt the way Kalista players had to adapt when Taliyah became meta.
Ooh, Q could be a kill here.
Q3 though on Jojo. Jack doesn't want to overcommit.
You can already see the trading power of the Lee Sin. I mean, we saw Lee Sin top in the meta for quite a while. They did end up nerfing the champion to push him out of lane. But that doesn't change the fact that against melee mid lane matchups, as you were highlighting earlier, it can still be very effective in the trading pattern.
I mean, you have lifesteal innately, right? And Yone gets a little bit of sustain back from the W. You have the shielding to make trades easier. But early on, it's just going to be miserable. Like, the reason Lee Sin's an early game jungle powerhouse is his kit is just so stacked. This is such a hard champion to duel against, and Yone is not great the first few levels.
Oh, no, he's
like,
not.
You're just praying your opposing laner does not murder you. But usually it is against ranged champions, so Jojo, you can see, at least isn't falling too far behind in terms of CS. He's staying relatively even. He's just losing out in terms of pressure overall.
Yeah, and he, gets a slightly light. He's putting points in his shield, I should say, rather than the Lee Sin. So just so that he can have that extra bit of durability, and as you already mentioned, the life still offering a lot of value in those early extended trades.
Yeah, 14% at second rank. It's a lot of sustain. And it does go a long way, although you can see the difference in early itemization, attack speed for Jojopyun, also cooldown reduction, going to make this easier. For Jackie's, can always queue back through, but one of the problems in any Yone matchup, right, is that he just has damage amp on that E. So still have to be careful about the conditions in which you take a trade. It's tough to DPS check a Yone. All right, checking out across the rest of the map. Lot still hates his life. Karma, I think, for all the solo queue players out there. Don't really know what the break points are here, and I don't think Ambessa is a champion that can function without her passive, so he's probably always going to be marked up. So we see a bit of action in the mid lane. Jojopyun going to be forced to go back in a second here. Alvaro tries to make the play happen. Jackie's losing flash. So overall advantage to the side of MKOI, potentially a lot of setup for future plays. Jackie's does not quite have a ward yet, but will always have the ward hop as an out. So being flashless isn't the end of the world.
Okay, so I couldn't remember the game, but I knew it happened. It was Doinby yesterday that played, and he went for very much of a bruiser build. And that's what I was interested in. His itemization when he played on Lee Sin, it looked like it was very traditional with the Stride Breaker into the Sterax. I'm curious if Jackie's goes in the same direction, so that you are more of that bruiser rather than kind of the assassin that we sometimes see. I say in solo queue, we don't really see it in pro play.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, we're in no man's land right now. Vex top is 1.2% of all Vex games according to Analytics. Like, we're in the deep parts of cooking.
I mean, and so far he's built an advantage for himself. I'm somewhat surprised. Like, we didn't talk about it at all because we were so excited about the picks, but a lane swap is kind of what I would expect. You know, like to try and get the Ambessa out of the matchup, bully the Vex in the other game. But when you go for these standard lanes, you can see that Lot is struggling on the top side of the map. And slowly but surely, MKOI, they're building up advantages. And this counter pick from the Lee Sin, I mean, to be fair, I thought that it was going to be more of a difficult matchup. But so far, I mean, Jojo is playing the matchup well. He has a nearly 300 gold lead.
Yeah, I assume that at some point Lee's going to have a little bit more kill pressure here. Level 6 is there, but it just has not found the angle. Did lose Flash because of the earlier ganks. This is the other thing we talked about, right? As flashy and interesting as some of these matchups are, key for MKOI is still usually jungle support. Elyoya already on the grubs. Going to get traded for the dragon here as Jackie's trying to go at least a little bit all in, but it's Alvaro who's just been free to go mid on cooldown, leaving kind of Supa and Noah isolated.
Objectives will be secured, and so far, a pretty safe and standard early game, I would say. I was expecting, you know, after the excitement and the hype of our first series, that, you know, maybe we'd get a little bit more bloodshed in the early game.
Sometimes you see a counter pick in pro, you're like, yes, blood. But then you remember Vex is like, nah. Myrwn's not killing Lot unless Lot, you know, sticks around too long for farm. It's going to take a lot. So Myrwn's just pretty content to just keep pushing. Just have cryo
at first. Okay.
I mean, it's nice for MKOI. Given the attention they put mid lane, they've been able to secure pushing lane there. They have basically perma push going in top lane.
Jungle has a bit of an advantage too. I mean, so far KOI comfortable with the lead that they have in this early game. Nothing too dramatic though. Objectives, as we mentioned earlier, evenly traded. Now Jack's going for a bit of information gathering as they walk deeper into enemy jungle territory. This is an ambitious steal from Closer. I think he's super confident he's going to get away with this.
Elyoya does not have smite though. Closer doesn't know it. But will just be a bit of a leash. Nice attempt here now trying to cover into mid. They know Elyoya is on red buff, or at least they can safely assume. Jojopyun holding the Q3. Know that he's not too safe there, but as Alvaro starts to walk up, he now knows that he has the room to start pushing, to play a little bit more aggressively. So it looks like a similar build to what we saw from Doinby, Stride Breaker.
Early Tiamat for the extra wave clear.
Yeah.
Helps a lot. But yeah, Jojo's already getting to a point where he's feeling a lot more confident in terms of the extended trades. Getting points in that queue is extremely valuable. Keep my eyes on Closer, hovering around the top side of the map. Does leave the bot side susceptible. Elyoya stealing away the blue buff.
Jun late Aftershock proc means he eats a lot more damage than he would have liked.
Flash came out from Myrwn on the top side of the map there to avoid the ulti from Lot. Closer, we just talked about how he was on the top side, securing his Raptors. This does leave all of these bot camps susceptible to be taken. And Elyoya will pick them clean. Interrupt onto Noah. I don't know if a dive can happen here.
Noah now ulting. Thought he might be making his way out to safety, but it's just a clean setup. Jun on the way. It's too late. Noah taken down for first blood. 1/3 of the way to the warfare. Some extra plates going over as well. Gold split between Alvaro and Supa, but a nice start for MKOI.
Nice roam from Jojo as well. Leveraging the fact that his team had control over the bot side. He just sacrificed a mid wave. He is going to lose, I mean, honestly, not that much off the back of it. Hopefully he can get this cannon. He gets it as well. So he ends up only losing, I think, well, he definitely lost quite a few CS, but ultimately, because the advantage is already built, it's not really going to affect him too much. So they find a kill on the bot side of the map. He doesn't lose too much mids. And on the top side, he's continuing to build advantages because Myrwn didn't fall prey to that gank. So KOI have already built themselves a 2k gold lead pre-10 minutes with only a single kill.
If you told me KOI got a gold lead without killing people. I mean, this is what's happening, right? I'm just very shocked. This is like one of the most early game aggressive teams we have in the league. And while there has been a lot of ganks, like a lot of plays from Alvaro, a lot of looks, top lane, obviously Myrwn has been pushing as hard as he can. Just nobody's going down. Nobody's dying.
I really like this Vex answer into Ambessa. Like, it makes so much sense. And you also look at the amount of dashes on the other side too, what the possibility of the fear can do. I've always been underwhelmed by Vexes in the past, especially when you see the mid, because I feel like that
you fall off a cliff.
It really does feel like that. Just
you do.
They're so burst heavy that unless you get, and it's so hard to land that ulti in the mix of a team fight. You either have to find a good flank or it's a tricky one to play out. So I've never really been super impressed with a lot of the Vexes that we've seen in pro play. But now that it's being played top lane, I wonder if that'll change the dynamic or I will continue to be disappointed.
Well, we'll see. I think the immortal struggle of counter picks for Myrwn and for any other top laner is just like, oh, you beat the Ambessa in lane, but now she's a powerhouse in teamfights and you're doing nothing. Oh, you beat the Kai'Sa in lane, well, now he's a powerhouse in teamfights, so you're doing nothing, right? Like, you have to be able to outvalue or push your lead significantly enough to do more than a champion like Ambessa, one of the highest priority picks. It's a tough thing to do. Myrwn going for Leandries as well alongside the early tier here. GX setting up for control on the top side. Do not want to give away the second spawn of Grubs. Yeah, and Alvaro. Ulti's available. Myrwn here too with the ults. No Eclipse finish. Jun. Q flash, hoping to get the setup. He saw the angle, but the sidesteps are nice from MKOI. With that cooldown gone, GX a bit tough for them to contest this. They're going to have to fist fight through KOI, and Myrwn's just waiting. Fear ready to go.
The TP out from Jojo. The response is going to come through. GIANTX look like they want to fight this.
Supa, ease over immediately. They're just going to turn their sights onto the backline. Ambessa doesn't even have an item yet. She is not tanky. Closer now in trouble. Marked up by Myrwn, but he's not going to take that one. Happy to just settle for the Grubs. 4 already. Looking to bring it to 6. 2.5k gold lead for MKOI. GX re-entering. Maybe they can find the angle.
I mean, I think that they're overplaying now. There's not really much for them to contest. They need to get back to the lane, start pushing these out, leverage the fact that so many of MKOI are sitting in the river. But decisive play there from KOI. And Supa, I mean, I think you can debate whether he was out of position or whether he was baiting, but at the end of the day, what happened was 3 members targeted him. He was able to use his E to get away and then cleanse as well. So keep your eyes on Supa, moving in from mid lane, does end up getting caught, E's away, and then the collapse happens onto Laure, and it happens so quickly that GX have very little they can do to respond. And I will say that during the regular season, the best version of KOI that we got to see was when they were fast and decisive, when they clearly knew exactly what they wanted to do, and they executed upon it well. And so far, we are seeing that in this game.
Definitely are. I think for Jackies, we just have not seen the effect of this pick yet. In the context of that fight, he TP'd in. He was already a little bit late, gets into the fight, immediately gets knocked up by Alvaro, and then just has to leave the fight. No angle to follow up, no angle to continue, and when we've seen solo lane Lee Sin in the past, oftentimes it's been a lane bully when it was really OP top lane, and sometimes, you know, when it's been a more damage-focused build, it's been that one-shot flank machine. I really don't know what Jackies is going to do here. Maybe he can win in a side lane. I don't really think he can. I feel like there's no one who beats really Yone. Blade of the Rune King Yone is...
I could see it maybe one item, maybe after the nerfs to Blade. Maybe Lee Sin can win out in the 1v1.
It's really hard. But it's possible, for sure. I mean, it all, like, right, there's a lot of outplay potential.
But I mean, the thing about Yone is he's designed to 1v1 you. That's just what he does.
He just has a built-in damage aim.
He's got lifesteal. Well, I mean, he doesn't have no lifesteal, but his itemization gives him a lot of lifesteal. He has a shield. Gets the knock-up every few seconds.
When Lee Sin used to have an attack speed slow on his E, he was a lot better in these matchups, but they took that out probably 8 years ago. It's hard for me to keep track. So, yeah, it's a little bit tougher.
Yeah, I remember that. Remember when Ezreal's W
used to be an attack speed steroid and an attack speed slow? Yes, I do. It was a bad time for champ design, but a very fun time to play Ezreal.
Yeah, it was.
All right.
I was just going to say, I seem to remember Ezreal being used into Jax back in the day, just because of how annoying it was for the Jax. Just random side tangent. In any case, Dragon is up. I imagine that'll be the next point of contention. As I say that, it looks like it's going to go completely uncontested, as Elyoya is soloing that objective right now. KOI have control over the mid wave. GIANTX have their numbers on the top side of the map, and Myrwn, he respects it. He knows that he's the weak side. He's not overstaying his welcome.
This is just an incredibly clean game from the side of KOI. GX, even, I don't think we really got to see the full potential of what the Lee Sin Yone 1v1 would look like, but that's because Alvaro was freed up to roam early on. They've been first on the play, first on the move. They're winning out across these lanes, and once again, we have a situation where the kind of consolation prize, the cross map available to GX, might not even be a full turret. It will at the very least be that, but that's the feats over to the side of MKOI. Now they have the empowered boots too, and these little advantages are just continuing to grow bigger and bigger.
They certainly are. I mean, I know that it's not as bloody, but one of the things you said earlier was that KOI is one of our better early game teams in the league, and they're demonstrating why now. They know how to play through winning lanes. They know how to push their advantages. Sometimes they just get a little overzealous.
Alvaro caught out here. Chain CC good thus far. Quickness trying to backstep. Will not be able to get the knockup either, as we see the 1v1 in the side lane. Lot will walk away with his life. And Myrwn just continuing to put pressure on the top side. Nice pick back for GX, at least a little bit to even up the gold.
I like the idea there from Alvaro. He pops his ulti, and then he tries to flash, get the knockup, and then maybe he can E away to Elyoya to get away to safety. But too much damage, too much CC on the side of GIANTX. At the very least, they get themselves onto the kill scoreboard. What?
Myrwn?
He just has to respect Flash. He doesn't want to run the risk of getting ulted by Jojo.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of respect paid there. Having faith in at least the very least a TikTok combo. Jojopyun just all-chatted choker for those curious, which is pretty ruthless to lie. You know, it's like his first split. Like, he didn't talk trash to you. That was humanoid, but hey, he's got a brand. He's going to stick to it.
Yeah, I mean, when you're winning a game too, getting in the heads of your opponents in an elimination match.
I mean, it matters.
I mean, I do respect the fact that he stays true to his style, you know, regardless of whether he's winning or losing. He doesn't
even know the cameras are on. Like, he's fully committed. It's not for the show.
Face check from Laure. No flash, remember?
This might turn bad very quickly. None of their damage is actually here. Follow-up CC there. Closer, Heartsteel, not really enough to finish a kill. And that does bring us to one of the other problems for the composition. Earlier, before we saw the Vex, I was like, oh, this is a very AD-heavy composition. And GX responded by building the most heavy AD composition possible. And also, if Noah doesn't go AP, based on Kraken, he might not. They're going to be in a tough spot here.
Collapse is coming through.
The flank. Maybe looking for the montage? Okay, just a bit of stride breaker poke.
Very much just that. Thing is, there's no real objective on the map for them to play for. MKOI got what they wanted. Towers have fallen. They've extended their gold lead. They get a nice reset off, and even though it's Supa conceding in the mid lane, it's Jojo there to catch. Myrwn moves over towards the bot lane, and Myrwn has a kill, but that man has a 1.1k gold lead. A lot of that has just come from the pressure that he's been putting in the top lane matchup, and my biggest criticism of GIANTX is their early game. I feel like that they are not super proactive, they don't try and look to make plays, and it feels to me that MKOI is just fully capitalizing on that and leveraging their winning lanes to build a steady but solid lead that GIANTX now have to fight back from.
Yeah, I was surprised that the early pick Yone has kind of given them as much as they have. It's a pick that we've seen exploited in a lot of games. We've even seen Jojo have some rough games on it, but this game, Alvaro spending a lot of time mid lane just to make sure that Jojo could get the push outs when he wanted them. Jackie's not really able to press an advantage at all.
The buff will at the very least be secured by GX.
So it's 18 minutes and they're living at your red buff already. Like, you've just lost so much control over the map.
Yeah, and they can play it smooth and steady. Dragon spawns in a minute's time. Jojo doesn't have TP, but notice that he's being cautious. He's not trying to overforce the wave. He knows that his jungle is in the area. But he has no reason to fast push that lane. Myrwn's going to push through bot because he wants to quickly go back to base. Has the TP available to him. And now the push comes through. Now the syncing up of the solo laners from both MKOI players. Go back to base, spend what gold they can, and be ready to go and contest the dragon. Nice timing there. Just great coordination that we're seeing from KOI. Jackie says to stick around top lane to catch that wave. He doesn't have TP available. He's overstaying a little bit too long on the top side. They're conceding a lot now on this bot river.
Question mark ping from KOI on top lane. They will now see Jackie's, knowing that they have a man advantage on the bottom side of the map. They can use Myrwn TP to answer the lead if they want, but he's still a mile away from tier 2. So MKOI happy to have access bot lane and Bruce Wayne, bot lane in a relatively even state. They will finally send Jojopyun to answer. And now mid pressure is the name of the game as Myrwn gets a quick little fear. Jackie's going to need to get tricky to get his way out of this one, but again, the point and click CC. It's really hard to outplay. Jun trying to make the difference. Ezrreal going to finish the job. Fall from Lot. The ulti does not hit. Crucially, oh, that is crushing. Myrwn following up with an ulti of his own, but Noah remaining untouched. Noah getting a lot of damage down. Jojopyun trying to follow up, but he doesn't hit anything. Finally able to get the Q. The W, a bit more damage down. Jun gonna get finished off here. MKOI firing back, but it was a bit sloppy. End of the day, though, they get 3 kills to just 1.
The fight starts off with Jackie's face-checking Myrwn, and it turns into a quick collapse from both sides. Ultimately, though, it is MKOI that walk away the victors. Look at this, Jackie's not expecting Myrwn to be in this bush, takes a chunk of damage, a lot of it coming from Supa. Then Elyoya with the ulti to follow up. They lock him down. It's not the ulti from Myrwn that gets the kill, it's actually the Ezrreal ulti. And then locked, not quite connecting, means that there's no further lockdown onto Myrwn. He's able to get away, use his ultimate to reset, and even though Elyoya ends up falling, the arrival of Jojo cements more kills for MKOI and an even further advantage.
And it's just, I mean, it's just difficult at this point, right? Lot is so far behind, it's not just Myrwn that's a problem now. The Yone is doing so much more work than he should be able to. The Eclipse, I don't even think got a proc in that fight. Lot unable to find access to the fight, then just gets picked away. And this is the struggle for GX. You could see if they can absorb that initial engage. Like, Noah can do a bit of work, has the Ginsu second now. But the 2-item Ezreal spike, you know, the classic 10-year-old caster narrative, it's there for a reason. This is just going to be a tough one to play out. Noah's always going to be second when it comes to getting mid-prio without support, and MKOI can just take their time setting up around Otacon.
So we were talking a little bit about Myrwn's build earlier on. Winter's approach.
Yeah, okay, so Fimble Winter. Obviously, as he's not a melee champion, he will have to have CC, but since every champion on the enemy team dashes, he'll have infinite CC. Nice kick back. Noah now following. Jojo going to try to ult out. Elyoya ready to body block. Jojo now running. Jackie's nice movement, but Elyoya interrupts, stops. The Sonic Wave is not quite enough time, but now it's Jojo in trouble. Lot trying to fall through, trying to get more damage down. Jackie's living for a hell of a long time. And a messy exchange overall, but the 1-for-1.
Really nice try there from Elyoya, utilizing the ultimate to interrupt that Q from Jackie's, but it's Noah that ends up securing that kill, has to commit his flash, and as you rightly said, a 1-for-1 at the end of the day. Jojo does his best to outplay that situation, but ultimately doesn't really convert into much. The bot wave, no one really there to answer. Mid wave still in control of MKOI, they'll use that push, and even though there is wards invested on the top side of the map from GX, a lot of them are defensive. That vision line is very much on their side of the jungle. We'll look back now at this play. Jojo wants this skirmish against Jackie's. The pings come down as the Vi is on his way. Oof. Sidesteps come through. Nice kickback to set up for Noah to arrive, using that ultimate to arrive before the Vi does. And look at this ulti here. Nice interrupt. But then Noah's able to walk up, secure that kill. And then at this point they realize, right, we have to get out. The rest of KOI is here. The TP in from Myrwn. Not going to have that available for the next objective. But still, the arrival turns it into a 1-for-1.
Good call on the interrupt. I thought he had hit him before he could reactivate the Q2, but luckily the timing perfect from Elyoya. Means that Jackie's cannot just push Q again and finish the job. And you could see, I'm not going to lie, that was, you know, there's a lot of missed abilities in the context of that 1v1. I think if that Q3, that first one from Jojo hits, it's a very different fight. If Jackie's hits his Q, side steps, yeah. So it's clearly a battle of movement. We might get a rematch.
More great dodging.
Look, it's hard. The problem is, if players are good at League of Legends and not CC'd in any way, it is really hard sometimes to just raw hit Yone abilities.
True.
Most of the Yone's montage moments come from Fog of War or someone else getting the fight kind of kicked off, or people with no hands. Like, look, it happens. Some people not as good at dodging skill shots. I'm certainly amongst them. But Jojo has a lot of setup. He doesn't need to be the one to kick the fight off. Myrwn, Elyoya, Alvaro. It's a nice spot to be. The 1v1 will still be a struggle.
Now, I will say, I think GIANTX have shown to me that they can be a very good team fighting team. And KOI do have a tendency to overforce. Sometimes they're not always on the same page. Sometimes we see Jojo trying to make those hero plays. Sometimes we see players go a little bit too deep. And so what I'm looking for KOI is to show restraint, nice setup, calm composure when going up against GIANTX. And for GIANTX to turn this game around, it very much is in the team fighting. You highlighted a great point around the damage profile, but you can see that AP finally starting to come through from Noah. So he's going to be a little bit more diversified in terms of his damage output. And I definitely think that GX have an avenue back into this game. It's very much down to how well they can execute on the team fight, which is why this patience is so important for KOI, because their setup has to be proper. They have to clear out the vision, don't give GIANTX that opportunity to find that nice dive onto Supa or a nice flank angle.
I mean, it'll certainly be really tricky for GX. Again, the AP optimization that you highlighted, I think one of the big advantages is the poke, right? How low that cooldown can get, allowing you to pressure a little bit more, allowing you to poke, allowing you to threaten. But gonna need a bit more time before that third item is completed. GX control. Kind of through mid, although now someone is going to have to catch that wave. They're just cheating this play entirely. They think they're stronger in the fight. They see Yone bot lane. Jojo TP is going to take a lot of time. He's recalling before the TP comes through, so he's going to need like another 5 seconds. It's a little bit awkward. Desperate to complete that item, and that item's going to cost him a whole hell of a lot if they're able to finish this one. Ulti in from Jun, massive. Alvaro trying to interrupt the entire fight. Everyone is turning away from Rakan. Supa already about to fall. Noah now chasing, looking for the follow-up. Jackie's in the back time in the mean line, but it does not matter. Jackie's getting cut down, taking their time here. Q3 comes through from Jojopyun. MKOI taking the fight. Reset from Myrwn, going a little bit wide. GX the right idea, but couldn't quite finish the objective.
The initial engage from Jun looked so promising. Lot there with the follow-up, but Supa lives. He lives a lot longer than GIANTX need him to, and because they have to commit extra resources into getting that shutdown, across, KOI ultimately are able to turn the fight around. Great coordination. Supa does end up dying, but they get themselves 3 kills. They get themselves the Rakan. We'll look back at the fight, and again, look at this engage from Jun. Connects onto 3. The follow-up from Lot is promising, and then the dive in from Noah, but then the flash comes in from Supa. Noah and Jackie's tried to commit onto him. They commit a lot of resources, and the rest of KOI follow. They turn the fight into 2 parts, and the fact that KOI had the numbers advantage on the left side of the fight made it easier for them to clean up. 9-4 is now the kill score. 4.7k the gold lead. KOI clearly in the driver's seat.
And I think at this point in this kind of deficit, it's so hard for GX to play the game, right? You can see how squishy Lot is at this kind of individual deficit. Jojopyun has the false life, can just step up whenever he wants. Pressure on 2 lanes, leaving top lane unattended as Lot does what he can to push that wave out. GX looking to hold the line, maybe pick up a couple hundred extra gold if MKOI overstep, but this tier 2 is just going to fall. There's nothing they can do about it.
I mean, with the way the game is going, GX are going to have to think about how they adjust their draft moving into game 2, because at the end of the day, this Lee Sin really didn't offer a lot.
It's just a tough situation because if you're playing a control mage there, right, obviously the entire game is different, so it's a bit of an unfair comparison, 100%. But when Jun goes in, you can just push your buttons, and that AoE means that a 3-man stun will do a lot of work. Instead, what you see is you push your buttons, Jun gets all the CC, but then the follow-up's a little bit scattered. It's not as simple as just push your ulti to finish the fight, and it's just so hard to play this composition, even in an advantage state. But at a deficit, it's starting to feel pretty impossible.
Yeah, but I mean, the biggest thing was just the fact that KOI had winning lanes across the board.
Yeah.
They had pressure. I mean, bot was relatively even, but the fact that they got that first blood onto Noah basically gave them pressure on that bot side of the map. So they had control over bot. Jojo was winning out in the matchup in mid, and Myrwn was just smurfing on the top side. And it's very understandable why this matchup would be so difficult. And GIANTX could have considered a lane swap, maybe an earlier gank investment. Got to turn our attention to the play in jungle.
Elyoya. Multiple members collapsing here. Alvaro holding onto his cooldowns as long as possible. Content with just burning the Gleaming Quill, and Myrwn ready to go over the wall.
At this point, we're kind of looking for Noah to be the hero of the team now. 3-item Kai'Sa. He's able to do damage. The question is, can they get a fight that allows him to dish it out? Supa, level 15. Noah, not far away from that upgrade either, but Jojo about to take over to level 17. Just the experience gap very much on display as well.
Yeah, and it's just a tall task for Noah, right? We know the perfect world where he gets on top of Supa after Supa's E'd, using his ult. He can just burn through that health bar. But again, if Myrwn's standing next to him, you get the instant fear. He doesn't really have, if he's running away from Jun, he's not going to have access to any of that defensive itemization, and barrier, while it probably did feel really good for the lane, is going to feel a lot worse in some of these team fight circumstances. Yeesh. It's tricky. This is a puzzle I don't know how GX solved. And I imagine, you know, we heard this a little bit from Oscar in his interview after the last series, it will take MKOI making some mistakes for GX to solve this particular puzzle. But as you highlighted earlier, MKOI, a team that has not had the cleanest closeout. Alvaro going in, ulti going a little bit wide initially, but manages to charm up 2. Ulti from closer, used to disengage as Jackie's now fishing for the kill, trying to lock down Elyoya, and he'll be a successful shutdown there for GX. May want to keep this momentum going. They have a man advantage. Enemy team has no jungler. This has to be the time if they want to go for the Baron.
It's a crucial call out, Drakos, because no smite available means exactly that. A Baron is on the cards. GX can put the pressure down. They still have Jun's ultimate. They still have Noah's ulti. top side lacking there. There are still tools. The GX toolkit. Keep your eyes on Jun.
Lock up, looking to catch out Jojopyun. Jojo flashing away, the stun, the chain CC doesn't stop him from ulting. Crucially, he manages to get that off, but Jackie's is relatively untouched. Myrwn still trying to peel as best he can. Supa caught up, but not locked down. Jackie's ready to activate the Q2. Not quite in range. Bit of a scrap there. They'll get one more kill. GX chipping away, but the respawn timers aren't long enough. The health bars aren't high enough. They cannot convert it into a Baron.
Nice outplay in the jungle from GX. I say outplay, I mean, look at the target focus. It's closer that they actually throw so much into. They don't have the resources. Meanwhile, the TP is coming in from the flank. They don't actually connect it onto either carry. Noah is free hitting onto whoever he can. And then a nice kick comes through onto Jackie's. The follow-up from Lot. The single target lockdown of this composition is lethal. And after finding that pick, they put that pressure on. They force KOI to make a decision. And then Jojo, he just fake checks Jun. Makes it so easy to set up the play. The rest of the team is quick to follow through. They get that kill, and while the damage looks pretty good for Myrwn, it's just not quite enough.
Have to be careful, though. The fact that Jojo's still able to ult there almost spelled doom for the side of GX. But getting a couple kills back is big. Red pot in the inventory of Jojo has not popped it yet, but will have that much more sustain in these fights. And again, the big damage source on this team is Noah. Jackie's and Lot, if they find an angle, might be able to get something done, but the pressure just continues to be on him. He's now gotten the Seeker's arm guard, so a few more defensive tools in the fight to come.
Looks like that Myrwn's going to go back to base. I imagine he has... Oh, Alvaro. That should be fine. But there is the Riftmaker now completed as well. So not quite the burst builds that we've often seen from Vex. A little bit more damage over time, helping to get through that front line, chipping away at the HP of his opposition. Means that when he does get that big wombo combo, it's not going to be quite as explosive.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the battle of poke, the war of attrition, that's where you're going to see a lot more value come out of this build. And this champ can definitely offer a lot of poke thanks to how low cooldown that Q can be.
Yep, and as long as you hold on to that fear when you're protecting the backline, you don't have to worry about too much. Of course, you don't have a choice when you activate it. Similar to Annie passive, right? Once it's stacked, your next ability will pop it. So fear comes out there, Myrwn. Taking advantage of Winter. I think we saw it from Lot the other day as well on the Jace. It's generally a pretty solid tanky item for champions that need that early bit of extra mana.
It's turned into a tense affair. MKOI were just riding with so much momentum, but after... Ooh, Closer not quite connecting the ultimate. Elyoya up on the flank, will be spotted out.
Oh, this is tough. Closer taking a chunk there. Can't eat some of the fruit, but Elyoya ready to go. Jackie's just continues to fish for a flank. Noah throwing out W's to poke, but no real angle here. They just have to concede mid-prio.
I mean, MKOI have done a good job of chipping away at the HP bars of GX prior to even allowing them access, I think, to the Dragon.
They have to go. They're just going to lose soul here.
Yeah, it's gone. They had no way. They couldn't force the fight. Closer tried to, but he didn't connect that ultimate. The damage onto Noah is good.
There goes your poke with Noah win condition, though. That's just so difficult. And again, credit to MKOI. They're playing it slow. They're playing it controlled. The one or two times that they have misstepped, Giants have just not been in a position to punish because of the lead that they so diligently built early on. Yeah, and now we're approaching the point where, I mean, you need a 50-50 steal. You need 10 more minutes for people to just kind of get more money. And then maybe you're in a good spot. But 5K Ocean Soul?
There's 3 items finished for Jojo. He's so close to level 18. This Yone on the side lane is going to be a problem. He's already found his home in the bot lane. Has the TP available. And this just creates another problem for GX. How do they deal with him? Jackie's has been sent there. He does have a decent amount of damage, but I don't know if it's enough to deal with Jojo.
They just have so little control. So many towers taken down. Mid lane tower, bot lane tier 1. Both of those still up for MKOI. So they have to force these picks. They have to go for these plays even without perfect vision. They just have to force an advantage. You can see that bot lane wave will need someone eventually to respond to it. Myrwn just continues to be a nuisance. This is a bit of an overcommittal here. Ulti goes in. Myrwn forced to flash out. Winter strong. Ocean Soul strong, but not nearly strong enough. Overconfidence as Myrwn gets caught out in the side lane.
Exactly that. Just straight up disrespect coming from Myrwn. He didn't have the proper support. GIANTX still had access into their jungle, and they found a pick. And now again, they turn their attention to the Baron to put pressure onto KOI.
Ulti down from Lot, as well as the flash.
Look at the damage of Jojo.
Jojo's starting to hurt as Jackie's just goes for the kickback. Q over the wall, again, poke. starting to land. Sidestep on the Void Seeker from Noah is big. 6K getting lower. Looks like it's time for the 50-50. 3K on the objective. Elyoya now going in, trying to speed it away, and he manages to grab it. 47 health. Neither side happy with the way that's might work down, but GX just getting deleted in the blink of an eye. One perfect Yone ultimate. A little bit on late on the smite, but the Baron is there, and MKOI might just close this one out.
In the 4 versus 5, GX fumble it. They aren't able to secure the Baron. They can't secure a team fight. KOI get absolutely everything. And now they've set their sights on the first inhibitor of the game.
Start of the game from the draft, everything working out. So much support for Jojo in the mid lane. The roam's better, the top lane counter pick better. MKOI 1 or 2 sloppy moments, otherwise a nearly flawless performance. Now looking to end it here. Myrwn careful not to take the ult again, is to not end up under Fountain, but these are some pretty easy kills. The leap forward. GX sent back to the drawing board, happy that the Vex at least will not show her face again. Game 1 going to KOI.
I mean, honestly, for the most part, a very clean game from KOI. I loved the counter pick from Myrwn into the top side of the map as an answer to Ambessa. This Vex pick was really cool.
Yeah, that was nasty. Not much more to say. Ultimately, a great game 1 coming in from MKOI. We'll have to see what the adaptation is for GX as we get ready for game 2 and toss to a quick break.
What an incredible play there from...
Oh, that was incredible. You love to see it.
Right, yeah, let's really
What
get into...
a move! He's just so good. I mean, the persistence, the patience to find the angle. You just don't see that from rookies. He's got it all. He's got the pizzazz.
Have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
Ooh, that looks good. Do you want to maybe share a little bit? Yeah.
What a move!
Red Bull gives you wings.